We are all taught at an early age to be independent. We tie our own shoes, we do our own homework, we do that all on our own. But it seems that independence is this ultimate goal.
Right, you raise your children with that goal in mind, but how does that play out in your adult relationship? Studio 5 relationship coach Matt Townsend is here to help us out.
Yes.
Oh my God.
How are you?
I have never seen more Steve Carell in you until this very minute.
I'm wearing green.
You are 2 days
You know what?
late.
Apparently there was a holiday recently.
Oh my God.
Really?
But I missed it.
So
I'm wearing
today?
it now. Yep.
Well, thanks for coming to the party. I'll be
What were we talking about?
Independence. Is it the goal?
No.
It's not?
Isn't that what we want? We teach our kids to be independent?
Well, but think about it. Independence would mean you're alone. You finally made it. You made it. Good job, Stevie. You're all by yourself. Our goal is to get independent, sure, but we want to be independent in an effort to get more with other people, which is called interdependence, right? So we only want to be independent so that we can become stronger with someone else. Then we choose to go work together to become interdependent.
But there's sort of that stigma on being interdependent, and interdependent sounds good.
Yeah.
But if I'm reliant on someone else, if I have to rely on them for me to feel validated, for me to feel successful, that's a bad thing, isn't it?
Right. See, so watch what that is. So we want you to be strong enough to hold your own. Then, with all of your independent strength, go start working with people. Go start being with them. So you can't be interdependent. You can't be interdependent unless you're strong and solid by yourself. But the problem is most people think being independent is the goal. So they don't necessarily know that once they're strong and solid that now they can take it to the next level and strengthen the relationships around them. So you're absolutely right. We shouldn't like just defer and let our identity be created by somebody, because that's called codependent. Codependent is when I'm a dependent person trying to work a relationship. That creates two codependent people. Make sense? Codependence is not healthy. Interdependence is where two independent people choose to work together.
So help us take it to the next level then of this interdependence.
4 skills and 4 tools that we use. Now the neatest thing about independence is you don't need to go looking for it. You already got it. You've got everything in you to already be independent, right? So the word's called empowerment. You ever heard of that? Empowerment simply means the power's within you. If the power's within you, you've got to remember you already have what it takes to be an independent person. You're already responsible. Meaning, you already have agency to be acting independently in the life you're living. You don't have to be mad because your partner's mad. You don't have to be afraid because everyone else is afraid. As humans, you have the ability inside of you, this choice, to make decisions in how you lead your life. But as soon as you think you don't have choice, then you start to become more dependent. I become dependent on everyone else to lead my life for me. So I want everyone to recognize out there in TV land, you're already independent. Just start living that way. Start making the choices in your life. Start making the choices for your moods, your feelings, and the things that impact your life.
Regardless of what other people are thinking, because I think part of that comes into play.
Well, sure. We'll see. But watch that. Then I'm dependent on what you think.
Yeah.
And the minute I'm dependent on what you think, I'm going to follow you and jump into the lake.
And that's codependency.
That's codependency.
You don't want to drown.
But now we also have to temper it, which is what Darren keeps getting out. We've got to start living our lives more out of love and not out of fear. So now notice, inside of us as well is my ability to love somebody. I can love somebody even if they're a jerk. That's actually in me. Most of us, though, try to operate in our relationships and with people out of fear. We're very full of fear. We're very full of shame. We're very full of guilt. None of those are usually really positive, healthy drivers to change.
What's an example of that, of a relationship where someone's acting out of fear?
I'm only doing it because if I don't do this, you're going to be mad. The only reason I touch you is so that you're not moping around all day. So I just touch you to just shut your mouth. Gosh, and I'm sick of it. So instead, what we want to do is try to understand our partner and learn and use these skills to try to find more love for our motivations instead of more fear. Most of us, seriously, and I think that holds us back. We're very fearful people in our relationships. From growth, from actually developing the notice. If I'm only doing something because I'm afraid of you, then how do I love you? I don't. So we're not even fostering love in our relationships because I'm too afraid of everything, or I'm too guilty. So a lot of us do our work. In fact, Mel was even talking about that. You know, everyone else scrapbooks, and so she might even feel guilty that she doesn't scrapbook. Well, where does that idea come from? She's doing everything she can to just love her family. And if we can scrapbook, we scrapbook. If we can't, you're okay. You're still a loving, incredible, wonderful mother. You're beautiful, you're talented, you're fabulous. You don't need to operate out of fear.
So for someone who's listening to this and saying, okay, I am operating out of fear, not only am I operating that way now, but I've been doing that for the last 5, 10, 15 years, how do you turn that around?
Okay, one way is you start immediately with the gifts that you already possess. See, and again, notice, all of this is already inside of us. We already have the responsibility, the agency. We already have the love inside of us if we would just use it instead of fear. And we already have a lot of gifts that are ours. I mean, everyone out there may not be a scrapbooker, but they are. Some people are just funny. So use your humor. Use that gift that's already in you. Then you can start reaching for more independence in your life. Or some of you are just really devoted, or some of you are really disciplined and you can make notes and lists and checkboards and checklists. And some of you have planners, and some of you are great in technology. So one thing to do is start to focus on where you already have independence. Your skills, your talents, your gifts. One of the best ways I've ever found to actually grow some confidence and get some independence is to do what you do naturally and what you do best, instead of out of fear what everyone else thinks you should do. I can't be everything that this show even purports to be, right? So use your gifts and start taking your gifts to go do what you can do from what you're learning on these shows.
But doesn't that like intimidate people? Because they're thinking like, I have this set of gifts here that doesn't fit with what people think I am or what people think that I should do. And I don't know if I feel comfortable using these gifts because I really think I should have these gifts.
Isn't that weird? So notice there's the battle, and that's the rule of the fourth one. We need to focus on our essence, not our ego. Our ego is everything else that we think we are. Everything else that makes us feel better than everyone else. Everything else that thinks that everyone else on the outside is telling us we need to be. The real light, though, is on the inside of you. Your essence knows who you are, okay? Your essence is that feeling you feel when you're alone in your house holding your baby at 4 in the morning, okay? And no one else is around, and you're not thinking he's going to be the president. You're just grateful you've got him. That's your essence, okay? Now notice, out of that essence comes independence. Comes confidence, comes love, comes your gifts. It all flows from that light. But instead what we do as humans is we worry about little leafy balls on the table, and we put all of these things around us that aren't who we are. And you know what I think we're doing? We're trying to distract everybody from the fact that we're not even being who we need to be. So the #1 way on earth to be independent is simply be who you're called to be. Make sense? Simply be the Darren Adams that you're supposed to be. Right? And the Brooklyn Walker, the queen of morning television that you're supposed to be and called to be. Because when we are who we are, guess what happens to us? We start emitting this light, this confidence. That's the real independence. That independence, by the way, becomes the huge attractor to everyone else.
Other independent
who wants to
people
be with us.
that allow us to be interdependent.
That's the attraction. Then everybody loves you.
Yeah.
Then you marry him and you make babies.
Is that what it is?
That's how it works.
Wow, life is that simple,
It's
isn't
so cool.
But that is a more simple approach. I really like that.
That's
I really
life.
appreciate it.
By the way, that's what we teach in our women's classes, just so you know, if you're wondering.
it? You have a date night coming up
We
as
have
well,
a
right?
huge date night on the 23rd. That's this Friday, 7 o'clock. We're going to teach you to learn to love your partner their way. We're going to help you get into each other, where you're going to figure out how you love each other. You can go to Date Nights with Matt, and on that site, you can go type in Studio 5, and you get all of my past date nights, plus all of my women's classes, and even those on Ego and Essence. You get it for $1 for a month. So you can go see everything I do, about 50 hours of video.
Nice.
Tons of fun.
For $1.
$1.
A great deal.
A little bit earlier on the show,